Welcome to What She's Worth, the podcast dedicated to empowering women, amplifying bold voices, and challenging the status quo. This show offers candid conversations about leadership, career growth, and workplace equity. Featuring inspiring guests from industry leaders to rising changemakers, we celebrate ambition, advocate for equality, and provide actionable tools to help women thrive. Join us as we dismantle barriers, build confidence, and own our worth. Because knowing your worth is just the beginning. Owning it changes everything. Hey everyone, it's Ashleigh, and I'm going to do this episode a little differently. Not with a big theme or a polished introduction. It's just me showing up exactly as I am right now. Because the truth is, I'm tired. Actually, I'm beyond tired, and I know that I am not the only one. So we are mixing a little personal with the professional this time. I've been thinking a lot about how we talk about burnout, when we do talk about it, that is, and how even the conversations meant to help us heal can sometimes feel like another thing to add to the to-do list, another thing to perform, another thing to get right. And that's not what this podcast is about. So today I'm inviting us into something else. Not a break, not a collapse, but a reset. Why am I thinking about this now, when my career momentum is off the charts? I should run with it, right? I mean, I've had so many people telling me recently that I'm killing it, that my career is on fire. Girl, how have you been doing it all? Well, I've been doing it all, yeah, but I feel like shit. There. I said it. I'm not holding it together. Outward composure is just one of my gifts. It always has been. Inside, not so much. Over the last 10 weeks, I wrote a 200+ page book while working full time, while teaching 5 university classes that wrapped up in the spring semester, and then immediately starting to teach 5 more 6 days later for summer. I also wrote that book while hosting this podcast that I care so deeply about. I launched What She's Worth before I even know the book was going to be a thing. And then the book was absolutely a thing. Now, I'm not complaining. No way. Although that is the default reaction I seem to get when I try to have a real conversation with someone about what's going on with me. This is all good stuff. You should be grateful. Yes, thank you. I am grateful. These have been some of the biggest career highs of my life. And also some of the most exhausting. But nobody lets you talk about that part, even when you are hanging on by a thread, even when the only thing you need is someone to just listen to you, to hear you, to see you for the tiniest little millisecond. But no, the time to do all of this had to come from somewhere. First, it was my social life. My birthday trip to New York in March coincided with the start of the writing process, so that was my last hurrah before I had a chapter due every week. Of course, I got so sick on that trip, which was such a foreshadowing for the decline to come, but I didn't know that then. After that, I didn't see some of my friends for weeks. Some of them checked in on me, and some of them didn't. Some of them I still haven't heard from in 3 months, which kind of makes me wonder, are they just busy like me, or are we friends because I'm putting in 100% of the effort and energy to keep us close? But anyway, cutting back on social time wasn't enough to do it all. So then my 5 workout a week habit started slipping. Then cooking had to go, and then sleeping. I was doing nothing but working all day, then working every evening and weekend from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, with the exception of some Saturday or Sunday naps when I could barely even stand anymore. For 3 months. I thought that was the worst of it, but turns out not even close. It started with nagging fatigue that didn't care how many hours I slept, then tight shoulders that wouldn't loosen, and the back pain from sitting at a computer so much. Then suddenly my wrists are aching, and I realized I have carpal tunnel that is now flaring up when I type for too long. Then I was clenching my jaw at night. Then all the time. So much so that I broke a tooth. I broke a tooth. That was last week, y'all. Last week I went to the dentist to get a tooth fixed that I broke myself from stress. Oh, and then I said, forget this, and dropped $600 I don't have on Botox in my masseter muscles because dental work is probably way more expensive and I really don't want my teeth to fall out of my head. My skin has lost its glow. I stopped sleeping deeply. I stopped walking regularly. I stopped breathing fully. It turns out that burnout isn't always a dramatic collapse. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, a slow erosion of your energy and your joy that turns into a slippery slope until one day your body says, "We're done." And mine apparently is done. And here's what I've realized. It's not just the work that does this to us. It's the expectation to perform constantly, the need to prove you're capable, competent, unstoppable, even when you're not okay. It's the fine line we walk, the landscapes we tread, the politics we navigate, the emotional labor, the mental load, the invisible labor. Sound familiar? Let me pause here because I want you to think about something. Where are you carrying weight that no one else sees? Where are you giving, 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 and who's there to fill your cup back up? Where are you meeting deadlines set by other people, pushing yourself because you think you have to, burning yourself down to meet someone else's impossible standard, and probably not getting paid enough to do it in the first place? Because if you're like me, you're probably holding more than you realize. Right now, I am in the final stretch of editing this book. I'm traveling a lot in the next few months. Some of that travel is for work. Some is actually, finally, for rest, which frankly is long overdue. Yes, I'm coming home, California. Get ready for me. I was outlining this episode sitting in the dark at 8:30 p.m. last night, and all I could think was that I'm going to try like hell to record, edit, and schedule it before I have to catch an early morning flight to Philadelphia. And even though I plan to keep the podcast going every other week without fail, I might fail once or twice. That's a real possibility this summer. I realized something that I wanted to share with you, though. I have 2 half-researched solo episodes and a bunch of awesome guests lined up for you. But I have to stop before I break. We all have to stop before we break. So that's why you're getting a little bit of a different episode this week. I don't want to phone any of this in. I don't want to show up here pretending. I don't want to show up here anything other than honestly. And I want to turn in the best damn book anyone has ever written in exactly 10 days. What She's Worth isn't about quote unquote boss babying or girl bossing it or whatever you want to call it until we die. By the way, totally fine if you love those terms, but here we just call you a boss. We don't call men man bosses, so I'm just going to leave that there. But I digress. So for the next few weeks, we're going to take a breath together. Not step away, not disappear, just reset. Because I need to rebuild. And you might too. Not with more ambition, I certainly have enough of that already, but with more alignment. This summer, I am reclaiming it. The fun I've been missing, my passion projects, my social relationships, my workouts, my life. I'm editing without guilt. I'm listening to my body and honoring rest. I'm releasing the need to perform for approval. So this isn't a productivity challenge. This isn't another glow up checklist. It's a realignment, a coming home to myself, to yourself, a choice to rebuild more sustainably. Because here's what I know. Your worth isn't in how much you produce. It's in how fully you show up for yourself and for the life you want. I've done a ton of research over more than a decade on wellness in relation to careers. It's absolutely one of my passion projects. Anyone been to one of my occupational wellness talks or Harmony in the Hustle workshops? I mean, seriously, let me know if you're interested. They're game-changing and worth it, I promise. Just send me a message. And even I, after all of this work I've done, don't have it all together or figured out right now, clearly. But here's what's been helping me lately. Not cold plunges or wellness retreats or spa days or European getaways, although I would not say no to any of those. Well, except for the cold plunge, but by all means, you can send me to Europe. No, I'm talking little human things like body check-ins, asking, where am I tight right now? What is happening? How am I feeling? What needs to unclench? Like my jaw. I am taking walks with my dog, Lainey, who you met a few episodes ago with Kristen and Wrigley. Every night, we're just walking, just breathing, even for a few minutes. I'm also reading to decompress. Yes, for fun, because lost in a book is my happy place. I'm also defaulting to silence more often. I've been turning off notifications, which actually gives me some anxiety, and I'm glad I learned that now, because it's like someone is always going to need me, but that's my sign that I really need to disconnect, to come off of everyone else's high alert and let my own thoughts breathe. I'm also eating well on purpose, cutting the bullshit and just asking what will fuel me today. And I'm actually giving up some things too, like worrying about my hair in this damn Florida heat now that it's officially June, worrying about what other people are thinking, holding back on having fun and laughing out loud for the sake of appearances. Seriously, just let it go, girlfriend. And honestly, I cut out a little bit of drinking. Not that I was ever drinking a lot to begin with, but even one drink once in a while has been making me feel so much worse in the long run with all the stress. Although I do have an Aperol spritz in my near future, though, I can feel it. Each of these is small, but they matter, and I know they're going to add up because healing doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be deliberate. And remember, we cannot pour from an empty cup, but we can come back refreshed and better than ever. Taking time for yourself is not a sign of weakness. It is a total power move. So here's my invitation to you. Join me in a summer reset, if you will, and if you feel like it's for you. For now, it's just June, July, and August. We can extend later, but that's it. 3 months reclaimed for yourself. Not as another thing to add to your to-do list, but as a chance to subtract, to let go of what's draining you, to find what's worth keeping and what's worth just releasing. Let it go. I will be sharing inspiration and behind the scenes of this reset on Instagram at What She's Worth, so to be sure to follow along there. But I also want to hear from you. What are you walking through? What does your reset look like? Tell us all what you're letting go of this summer. Tell us what you're reclaiming. DM me, email me, because we all want to know. Let's create a reset that actually honors our worth. Not perfectly, not alone, but together, because burnout is not a badge and rest is not a reward. If this resonates with you, let me know. Comment, share this episode with someone who needs permission to just pause. Let's talk about it. Let's stop pretending we can do it all without a cost. You deserve to feel like yourself again, and so do I. And I want to come back to this space, this podcast, clear, full, and ready to go even deeper, because you're worth that, and I am too. So I will see you soon, hopefully in 2 weeks. But for now, take a deep breath. We're still in this together.
That's a wrap on today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. If you found value in today's discussion, I'd love it if you left a review. It really helps more people discover the show. Want to keep the conversation going? Connect with us on Instagram at What She's Worth for more insights, updates, and inspiration. You can also watch video episodes on YouTube. Just search for the What She's Worth channel. And if you're looking for empowering merch to rep your ambition, head over to whatshe'sworth.com to shop our latest designs. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.